Welcome to the Conservative Poet with me, Amania. Happy that you are here today. So, in today's conversation, we're going to go back a little bit. So, a few days ago, I was at an event and there was a couple of us ladies having a conversation, and we were talking about things, and this topic came up. And we were talking about transgenders actually, and the topic came up. And one of the ladies said, and I'm going to probably paraphrase a little, and she said, back in New York City, there were transvestites. They were there. They were using our bathrooms. We didn't mind it because they didn't bother us and we didn't bother them. And so for us, it really wasn't a problem. And I was like, "What?" It's like, "Y'all knew about this?" Like, for me, I wasn't exposed to that just then, and maybe I seen a few of them and I didn't know it, but what she was saying is that, "Yeah, we knew. We knew that they were transvestites, and we knew they were in our bathrooms. We knew we would be sitting and right putting our lipstick and one of them is right there. We knew." And we let it be. We didn't do anything about it, and that was that. They didn't bother us and we didn't bother them. They did their business, we did ours, and we went on. But now I would have to say, if we continue to take that same mentality, we would be in a whole different ball game. And actually we are, because now look at what's happening to women's spaces, right? This video is brought to you by the Orlando Patriot. Take a few minutes to hear us out. We've got some great deals for you. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas and Happy New Election Year. We are proud to offer some great selections for the holiday season. Here is our All I Want for Christmas is a New President and a New First Lady design. The design comes in multiple colors and styles, t-shirts and sweatshirts. They make a great gift for any patriot or any liberal in your life. Have a little fun this Christmas and trigger a leftist. Get 30% off your purchase. We also have digital gift cards available as well. Thank you so much for your support. We need to continue to support our country, and we do that with your support. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas and God bless you. So back in the day, you said, okay, we know what you are. You want to use the bathrooms. You do your business. We do our business, and we move on. They weren't, and one of the points that was made was that they weren't physically harming us. They weren't doing anything to us. They were just in the space. Obviously, because they couldn't go in the men's space because somebody get they beat down. Somebody will get them they butts beat if you walk into a man's room dressed like that. They're like, nah, this isn't your space. And so, and the women were more welcoming and saying, yeah, I know what you are. I see what you are, but I get that you can't really go into a men's room because they're going to beat your ass. So we're welcoming you and letting you into our space. So that was the kind gesture of the woman, right? Saying, we see you, we hear you, you can utilize our space. We're not going to make a big deal about it. So we say, okay, we gave them a perfectly manicured fingernail. Say, here you go. They take the hand, and then they take our lipstick, they take our pearls, and now they've taken our vaginas, right? Because they're literally taking it. They've taken over our body. They've taken over everything. Before, the transvestites were just putting on makeup and lipstick and taking things off, and oh, it was just costume. Now it's literally not just costume. It's literally they are trying to replace us. Like literally, they have taken over the women's space. Again, you gave them a little bit, you say, welcome to our space. We understand. We're going to let you utilize the space because you need to. Um, but now we've done that, and now they essentially have taken over the space and is saying, look, if you don't accept this now, then you're a xenophobe, you're a homophobe, you're a transphobe, and you're all kinds of phobe. When we women are literally being replaced in sports, in women competitions, and spouses and partners, because some of these transvestites have literally transformed themselves into women per se. And I'm sure they're taking some, and they say, yeah, we don't want to, we want men, we want straight men. And so that is yet another arena where the woman is at a disadvantage, because these people have come in here and they've taken that. They're now taking the straight men, because they're saying, I'm a woman, and I want me a straight man. So they're there. We're not only losing the women, I mean the men, to other men per se, just roughly two straight two men, men on men, not men on trans, but we're losing them to men on men. We're losing them to men on transgenders. We're losing them to um, prison. We're losing them to death. We're losing the woman has so much problem. We have a lot of problems. And so my whole thing is, if we had nipped this in the bud back then, when it all started, when we were seeing this, if we had the mindset to think, this could go even further, maybe we should have been looking at our legislatures back then and saying, you know what, we have a problem. There's a quiet problem, but eventually it's going to become a big problem. But nobody was saying that. Nobody. We were just saying, okay, you can stay in our space. And another thing I would think, back then, when you're in the bathroom stalls and we have a man in there, and I'm just picturing how this goes in the bathroom while you're in the stall. So here you are, a transgender or transvestite, dressed up to the nines, and your outfits and everything, and you go into the women's bathroom and you need to use it, and again, you don't have what I have, right? You don't have a vajayjay. That's not what you have down there. You can't just squat the way I do on the toilet, right? You just can't, because you you got to do something with with the one-eyed snake. You got to do something with your one-eyed snake. And so if you have a big one-eyed snake, then how's that gonna work when you're trying to squat? And it's not going to. If you have a little one-eyed snake, then sure, you can probably, flap it down, because you ain't got much to work with. But so when you're there and you're in the woman's stall, so obviously you're going to have to whip it out like you're a man, and just do that. But then, so now you've got to turn around, and you in your high heel shoes, and here you are turned the opposite way as to a woman in the stall. And if somebody happens to look down this way, they says, well, that's odd. Why is she um that way using the bathroom? And it dawns on you, oh, it's not a she in there, it's a he dressed up as a she. And so, I mean, I'm sure I'd never experienced that. And if I did, I'd probably go screaming out of the place, and look for help and security. Oh, I would have. That would be me. I'd be run. There's a man in the bathroom. There's a man in my bathroom. There's a man in here. I needs help. And I would do that, because you don't belong there. Contacted our legislatures. We made a big deal about it, and wasn't just so inclusive and saying, okay, let's be quiet about this, let this happen. We would be in a different boat right now, because right now, again, you've given these people a finger, a perfect manicured finger. They've but they've taken your arm, they've taken everything else, they've taken our whole body essentially, because again, they are trying to replace us. And this is in all of these different arenas. I mean, the women's space is being bamboozled, and especially in women's sports, where you have all kinds of men competing. There's men boxing women, there's men wrestling women, there's men um I don't basketball taking over the women. I mean, you should see them. Like, the women are this high and the men are this high, and they're competing in basketball. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then you have that giant of a man, that Leah Thompson, and him and swimming against women and taking over that. I mean, it's insanity. Again, going back to that conversation I was having a few days ago, if we knew these people were in our spaces and we sat by idle trying to be inclusive, and now here we are in a different place because they have taken over. I mean, they're winning women beauty contests. They're women winning. This is what a woman is supposed to look like. This is what is a woman. These are men literally replacing us. Where are the feminists, right? The women's movement. It's no longer that. They have clubbed women and these transgenders in one, saying these are women. And you know what really bothers me more than anything is when you're reading an article or a story like that. Like, I did one of Dylan Mulvaney not too long ago. And in that article, they when they would refer to him, they her, it's her, and it's like it's capitalized, it's emboldened, it's her. And so then they're all about these pronouns, right? They're all about making sure you calling him or her. Like, they her, it's so much in your face. It's like, come on, who you trying to impress here, or who you're trying to convince here? Because every other word is her. And so then they make the pronouns, extraordinary. And it's like, it's a him. It's a him. It's not a her, it's not a she. And so when they talk about them, it's like they to make them seem like, yeah, it's her body is doing this, her body is doing that, she is being this, she is being that, and it's a him.
Oh,
I really
so
wanted to just have this little conversation there. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for taking the time and listening and enjoying what I have to say. So, what I'm going to do now is I'd like to show some footage in reference to where we are, or where we came from with, when you saw these women in these bathrooms in like the 1980s or the 1970s and 60s or whatever, and you saw these men dressed up as women, or dressed up in costume pretending to be women. I mean, the thing is, now they don't even pretend. Again, they're literally, you know, having surgeries to get themselves in this place. And they are no longer really swapping wigs if they can. They, like for the Caucasians, they grow their own hair. And, I'm seeing the black trans, or the black transgenders, um, they do it, pull it off with braids. And some of them, wigs, if that's what floats their boat. But again, it's like they're making it a part of their natural without, the hindrance of other things. So, before it was like these big kind of wigs, and they're over the top extreme. I mean, that stuff still goes on with the drag queens and so on, but I'm talking about these people who are really um trying to simulate themselves into the society, where they can just kind of weave in. But a lot of them you can't, because again, the men have beards, they may shave it and all of that, but they're still there. And then of course they've got the Adam's apple, and they've got these things, and they got the big hands and the big feet, and it's just, I see one regularly around my neck of the woods, and I'm like, yeah, there's that dude. It's just a big old dude. He's slim, but he's got his straight hair long, his long straight hair, and he wears like tights and stuff, like like women leggings. And and probably he had the bottom surgery. I haven't looked too closely to examine to see if what's in between there. Maybe next time I see them, I'll pretend, because I'll be walking the dog and I'll see him, and I'll watch and see, like, I wonder if it's like flat or if it's tucked. It's like, whoa, it's just too much. But this is the society that we're in. This is where we are in the world. You know, all we can do is pray. All we can do is praise. But I'm going to put a little video footage together so you all can see some pictures from the transvestites from back in the day. Again, if we had really stood up and said, hey, this is no good because it's going to go somewhere else, somewhere further, maybe we should have spoken up then. But since we didn't, here we are dealing with being replaced by men and women's everything. Again, they came, we gave them a hand to come in, we gave them an opportunity, an open door, and of course, they came in and they took everything. They took our perfectly manicured fingernails, they took our lipstick, they took our pearls, and now they took our boobies and our vaginas. Our vaginas. They took our vaginas too. They pretty much have taken over. They've taken our vaginas too. Heard that? Seen that? Good.